All right, guys, what's going on? Welcome in. So, as we all know, Dalvin Cook was on Good Morning Football early this morning, and that show's based in New York. So, his official visit with the Jets, it was reported is going to take place this weekend, but according to Cook, it kind of sounded like that meeting is going to take place today. Maybe it's like a multi-day, like a 2 or 3 day meeting here. But in any case, he stopped by Good Morning Football to kind of talk about what he's looking for in his next destination, talk about the Jets and everything, because that's obviously well reported on. Everybody knows the Jets are his first stop here and potentially could be his last. So the first thing that I want to dive into is just kind of like the main, the coolest quote of the whole interview here, where when asked about the New York Jets potentially signing there, chances wise, he said, yeah, I think the chances are pretty high. He was going on and on about how he thinks that the Jets are building something special. The main thing that's really attracting him to the Jets is the fact that they have Aaron Rodgers. And this is the Aaron Rodgers effect, right? This is when you have a franchise quarterback, a Josh Allen, a Joe Burrow. I mean, look at all the moves that the Bengals have made in the past couple of seasons. It's nuts. Patrick Mahomes, like if you have that franchise quarterback, free agents, right? People take notice. Players want to come and hop on and be a part of something special. If we think back to, what Dalvin Cook was originally looking for in his next team, when we go back months or really, weeks, maybe a month or two, when he was talking about what he was like actually looking for in his next team, he wanted to go to a place where he can kind of be the final piece, right? Get the team over the hump and win a championship. He wanted to go to a place where they're going to embrace him, right? We really, really need Dalvin Cook in this locker room. You're here, let's get it done. That's the type of thing that he's looking for right now. And of course, there's been a million teams that have been linked to Dalvin throughout this process. The Broncos, the Patriots, the Bills, the Jets, the Dolphins, the Cowboys early on. There's been a lot of, and supposedly the Vikings still have interest. The Vikings, I read a report the other day that the Vikings have a contract offer out on the table. So, we'll see what happens there. But I think ultimately Dalvin Cook will be playing in the AFC East. According to him, again, it sounds like things are going well. I have seen a couple comments saying, pump the brakes. It's the first stop of his free agent, tour, if you will. He didn't rule out the Miami Dolphins. I think it was like a couple hours after the initial report yesterday from Tom Pelissero that Cook was coming in for a visit. There was a report saying that the New England Patriots still have a lot of interest and it's not off the table. Cook actually alluded to potentially joining the Dolphins in that same interview, in today's interview, and he said that it would be a Cinderella story, right? Growing up there, in fact, he's training there right now and down in Fort Lauderdale. Grew up there, obviously Florida State Seminole, all these different things. And we know how the Miami Dolphins have really operated over these past couple of seasons. Really this season and last season with, Mike McDaniel hit that locker room. And, I don't know if he, was just watching the rival Rams do business and ultimately winning a Super Bowl that made him hit the Miami Dolphins organization saying, hey, we need to operate kind of in the same wavelength here, right? Let's go out, let's trade these picks, trade these, quote unquote, unproven players. We don't know who's going to be on the draft board. We're going to trade these assets for proven guys, and we're going to spend money and we're going to win games. And it really tried to attack the NFL season with like brute force, right? Just acquire tons of talent all over the place, both offensively and defensively. The Dolphins don't really strike me as a team that's fine settling, or they're fine waiting on like young players to kind of develop. It's like, hey, if we have an issue, if we have an Achilles heel on this team, we're going to address it now, and we're going to do it with the best available option. But what's interesting is the fact that there was this, report that floated around, I think it was a couple of weeks ago, saying that Dalvin Cook rejected the contract offer from the Miami Dolphins. And we also can line that up with numerous reports saying that the Dolphins have been, I believe it was twice. The Dolphins tried 2 times to land Saquon Barkley in a trade with the New York Giants, and the Giants weren't budging. So we know the Dolphins are like in the background looming. I think it really just comes down to if the Jets really, really want Dalvin Cook, proving it this weekend, and just don't let him leave. Don't let him leave. Presents a contract offer that he can't turn down, and hope for the best. Again, I don't want to say that he's using the Jets or anything like that. I want to be a little optimistic here and kind of, think that he's coming here with the intention to really get a good vibe, really check out the vibe of the place and hopefully put ink to paper, that it's like an actual real thing and it's not some, business tactic or anything. But we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. But I think given everything that we've seen from Dalvin Cook, everything that we've heard from Dalvin Cook, a lot of the different reports surrounding Dalvin Cook, I think it's pretty safe to say that the Jets are seriously in consideration here. Now, if last 2 points, number one, if he were to sign with the Jets, right, what does that mean for Breece Hall? The one position that I do not want to be in is where the Jets bring in Dalvin Cook. Awesome, that's great. And now we have an electrifying back, one of the, in my opinion, a guy that can seriously become a top 5 running back. Definitely a top 10 running back. And he's just on the bench. Look, if he's not 100% healthy, let's keep him on the bench, right? I'm not rushing a guy like that back. Watched tons of him in Iowa State. This guy he's dominant. He's a great player. You can make an argument he should have won Rookie of the Year or could have won Rookie of the Year if he just stayed healthy. I mean, he was carrying the Jets offense, him and AVT, of course. They both went down in the same game with season-ending injuries. It was just an absolute gut punch waking up the next day. But, if, according to Saleh, Breece is 100%, pedal to the metal. The Jets are kind of holding him back in practice. Like, he's roaring to go. He can run. He can move around. He's right on cue on where he's supposed to be as far as the knee and the rehab is concerned. The expectation, Rich Cimini reported the other day, the expectation starting Breece Hall week 1. If we sign Dalvin Cook and Breece Hall is good to go, is he going to have this small diminished role on the offense? Is he going to be coming off the bench occasionally? Because Dalvin Cook, great player, right? What was it? 4 straight seasons with 4 straight 1,000-yard rushing seasons. In all 4 of those seasons, of course he had the rushing yards, he had tons of touchdowns, but he also racked up 30 plus receptions in each of those 4 seasons. So it's not like Cook is some one-trick pony type of back. He can do a ton of different things. And if the Jets are going to go out at this point in the offseason and spend whatever it is, $7-8 million on Dalvin, now that they have the money after the Aaron Rodgers restructure, I'm not looking at Dalvin Cook as just some guy he's not going to be some back that just, comes on the field for a down, then he's coming off, then he comes back on, then he comes off. I think he's going to have a legitimate role, especially if you're Dalvin Cook, you're looking at the Miami Dolphins, you're looking at all these different suitors, saying to yourself okay, I could have maybe a bigger role with a different team if the plan is for the Jets to really play Breece a lot. So that's my only concern here. I don't want to look. I'm all about winning the Super Bowl. I know the season is 100% about wins. And Saleh even addressed this in the press conference. He's like, sometimes the young guys have to understand that they have to be a little mature. There's a maturation process, right? If we bring in a veteran, it's not like an indictment on them individually. It's just the way of the NFL, right? We're just trying to add talent. We're just trying to kind of shore up loose ends and that type of thing, which I get. But also, man, if I'm Breece Hall and now all of a sudden I'm coming in, like my snaps are dropping monumentally. I wonder how that's going to affect him. I wonder how. I don't know. It's just something that's kind of looming in the back of my mind. But at the end of the day, if the Jets sign Dalvin Cook, are we a better team? The answer is yes. And if the answer is yes, then it's something to look into. I mean, again, we're not this young, up-and-coming, rebuilding team anymore, hoping for 8-9 wins. We are thinking final game of the season is the Super Bowl. And again, we have to make moves with the understanding of, all right, Aaron Rodgers just took a $35 million pay cut, restructuring his contract. What are we not going to do anything with it? So let's load up the team on talent and move forward. So hopefully we get some news, whether it's hopefully later tonight, but tomorrow, Sunday, at some point. Interesting situation to say the least. Anyway, let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Thanks so much for watching. And as always, go Jets.